In this video, I'm going to show you a really excellent system to use as white against the Sicilian defence. The move Bishop B5, sometimes called the Rossolimo variation, is extremely logical. White develops a piece and stays ahead of black in development. This accounts for the many quick white wins in this variation. I've thought very carefully about the repertoire that I've selected to make it easy for you to learn and easy to remember. Against the key black defences, I propose lines where white plays in a consistent strategic fashion by exchanging bishop for knight on c6 and crippling the black pawn structure. My idea has been to show the key ideas in each major variation. I believe video is a superb medium for this, as half the battle of successful opening play is knowing the right candidate moves and the typical plans to aim for. The illustrative games in this video contain a huge amount of instruction and feature many famous grandmasters: Kasparov, Fischer, Spassky, Tal, Sarkis, Wrublewski, Salov, and so on. It's taken me about 6 weeks to research and check the repertoire presented here. I would be happy using any of the lines against any level of opposition. As you're about to see, the Bishop B5 Sicilian is a super weapon and carries an element of surprise, and yet will also stand the test of time. Right, well, the opening moves begin e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, when we reach the starting position of this video, bashing the Sicilian with bishop b5. There's really only two big ideas you need to understand with white to play the bishop b5 variation. The first is that white is playing for very rapid development. White's already ready to castle, while you can see that black, whose kingside pieces are completely unmoved, is several moves away from completing his development. The second big idea is that white has the possibility, sooner or later, of capturing on c6. The idea is to slightly damage the black pawn structure, as whether black recaptures with the b pawn or the d pawn, his pawns will be doubled. Over the next 16 illustrative games, we're going to look at some classic examples of how top players have handled these positions. These instructive games will cover all of the main third move defences for black in this position. That is queen b6, queen c7, knight f6, e6 and g6. I should point out here that the move 3d6 is going to be covered in the second volume of this Bashing the Sicilian series, because it's direct transposition from lines where black plays d6 on move 2. Right, now our very first illustrative game has been chosen to give you a little bit of inspiration. It features the gamelet Sicilian Afek Israeli Championship 1992, where white won, believe it or not, in only 10 moves. Afek chose the queen b6 defence, which your opponents might well try if they're worried about the doubled pawns on c6. Black is of course now able to answer bishop takes c6 with queen takes c6, and as a bonus he forces white to do something about the attacked bishop on b5. The good news for white is that the downside of queen b6 is easy to understand. Black's queen development is a little premature, as it costs tempi and the queen is potentially exposed to attack. If white plays very energetically, this can be exploited. Sicilian played knight c3, which protects the bishop on b5 and sets a little trap. Here black should play e6, when white responds with the capture bishop takes c6, which we're going to look at in our next game. However, in this game, Afek went terribly wrong with the move knight d4. This looks like quite a tempting move, but it's led to tactical disaster in several tournament games. I'm surprised the trap's not actually mentioned in any of the major reference works that your opponents might use, such as ECO, MCO, or even the excellent Pedersen book, Easy Guide to the Bishop B5 Sicilian. The point is that white continues with the capture knight takes d4, c takes d4, knight d5, This is a fairly obvious but also a very strong move. Obviously black can't capture on b5 because of knight c7 check, forking king and queen, and after queen d8 there follows the rather devious move queen h5, which sets a mega trap. Black must really accept a clear disadvantage here with knight f6, knight takes f6 check, but Afek misses the danger and plays a6. Perhaps he thought white's bishop had to move, but the next is a bombshell, queen e5. In fact, this crashing reply would have also been the answer to g6 or e6 last move by black. Now a takes b5, costs black his queen after knight c7 check, and the defence d6 is unfortunately not legal because the bishop on b5 pins the d-pawn against the black king. If you really need encouragement to put that bishop on b5 on move 3, how about this? Black's only got one try to escape in this position, which is the move f6, but after knight c7 check, king f7, queen d5 check, another excellent move, Afek had to resign. Black's completely lost. If king g6, bishop e2 threatens mate on h5, and if e6, then knight takes e6 is crushing because the d-pawn's pinned. Well, this win right in the opening was a fairly gruesome example, but as you'll see throughout this video, it can quite easily happen to black with just a couple of inaccuracies when facing the bishop b5 Sicilian.